You're on YouTube.
I just sound like an old person.
Hey, Liz, can you move? And Joe, can you move? Beautiful. There we are. All right. Perfect. Nobody knuckle over my.
What?
All right.
She's
Now, can one of you go on YouTube and see that you can see it?
Someone go on the YouTubes.
What is it?
Live. We are live.
What is it called? YouTube?
We are live on YouTube.
Social media.
Check it out. Oh yeah, there you are.
I'm there.
Check it out.
I'm gonna walk in front of this laptop now.
What is it called?
A
What?
little bit of a delay.
All right, just make sure.
There's Lorenzo.
There you
I'm
are.
there?
Yeah.
All right, good.
There's like a 2-minute delay.
There's just a delay.
This is fine. I wouldn't say. All
Heck yeah. It'll just take a second, but you'll come on.
right, I gotta tell people.
So feel free to tell your friends to log in and watch you do your presentation.
Diana's face down. Cool. Is that you? That's so that's me.
I don't like that.
What do you search if we did?
YouTube.com/YouTube.
Where'd I go?
We have to go back to
I don't see it. Oh, there. Can you just post
There you are. You're my lap.
Oh, there I am.
All right. You guys had any snacks? You want any snacks before we begin?
Got chips.
Have some snacks.
Oh, whoa.
Right? Those cookies look great.
Oh, I'm getting what?
Right? So sandwich cookies. Little.
Listen, I'm making little, but I get full today.
Oh my God, yeah.
You're enjoying that?
Do it for the gram.
Won't live, but right now I am.
Alright, so you guys have cookies, we're good?
Oh, let me get one more. Actually, I don't want this one.
Hi, Lauren.
Feels like being in front of the camera. I know. I'm nervous now because it's like the life.
It looks good.
No.
We have her.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way. Well, during my second it's really funny. She's like,
He's like how I wanted to be. Snoop. Like I love him.
And then I saw it. Oh, she's
Here we are.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so let's do this. First group that's going to go will be my face painters.
What?
But when it's coming up,
You're announcing people to go?
I said so, yes. So get yourself set up.
I'm alright.
Oh, yeah.
Is that right? Oh, no? Okay.
Wait, who gets our second paper?
I'm gonna take your second paper and I wanna see you guys on my live stream as we discuss.
You gotta be on the live stream. It's live. Alright, take it easy. I want it to be the next Lorenzo.
But I don't know.
I don't know if they would say
Might
that.
be just doing.
It would be better.
Yeah.
How would that be like?
Oh,
That's your name, man.
right?
No way. It
Wait.
is?
It's spelled right and everything.
That's
Has
so
a comma
cool.
in between the A
No
and
double
the S.
N's. That's great.
Well then what's, how do you, what do you have for total, like,
Hold on.
this one?
If we hit the lights, then we can just see it.
Okay.
Well, the lights
No.
are really what we need to see. It's either-
This cream is amazing.
Hey, there she is.
Your girl slapped your leg.
I don't think.
That I don't. Okay, I meant.
You see
Oh,
right
and
there.
that's it.
It's happening from next to the
So the, yes, the followers.
You relate to Kelly Dow.
Alright, so I wanna see you guys this round.
Reality
Do we
TV.
just turn off lights?
Let's see.
Try it and we'll see what it looks like.
Oh, God.
No,
Wow.
the answer is no.
That's too bad.
That's good.
That's good.
Okay.
Wait, check
We
the
can
lights.
see. Yeah, we can see it.
Can I see them?
Can people know that it's me? Oh, look. we're
It doesn't
seeing
like look like them,
you. Yeah, I know.
but now you can see more.
I need a volunteer. No. Alan,
Yep,
can you
first time.
run our PowerPoint for us?
Sure.
Thank you, let them know when to flip it.
Cool.
Just like.
Beautiful.
Still live.
Perfect.
There we go.
Alright guys, without further ado.
Sweet deal. Let's start us off.
Okay, so we did Diana's face speaking for a social media campaign. I'm Kayla.
Jonathan.
You're good. Alright, so Diana's face painting. The company was active on both Facebook and Instagram prior to us taking over. They already had a well-established following accounts. They expressed interest in expanding onto Twitter. Some of their goals were increase the following, increase their follower interaction, post more often, and make people aware that they are more than just a face painting company.
In order to improve the social media for Diana's face painting, we plan on posting daily based on Kayla's proposal, getting more interactive with followers, sticking to a day-to-day posting strategy. So Mondays are motivational Mondays, to be following Tuesdays, Wednesday, How to Thursday, Feedback Friday, Saturday Night Live, and Sunday Fun Day.
Alright, this is what our Hootsuite setup kind of looked like for the social media handling. What we did is we kind of separated it into two different tabs. We had all our feed right here. We had our posts for Instagram, Twitter. We had all our mentions in our home right here on the first tab. The second tab was set up for the scheduling of both of the Twitter and Instagram.
So Instagram prior to us to taking over, the Instagram account had an established following of 1,251. However, there was no plan in place when it came to posting certain content, certain days for certain times. It was not much different than a personal account in the fact that it had a very casual posting style.
There's some of our Instagram posts from one of the events that we had in Jackson. Mostly were kids face painting. Eve, the little girl, she wanted to be a cat, and then we had Wolverine and puppies that day, and the kids ran around the entire time, and they had a lot of fun with it. It was great.
Basically, our plan synergized well with an audience that was present before and after the implementation of our strategy. As you can see on our Instagram, the gender percentage was mostly women, and as for the age range of the audience as well, it really took off kind of at like 35 and 44-year-olds, and next up was the 25 and 34-year-old age range. So that was kind of our main audience with Instagram, and it kind of spanned across the local area as well. As a result, at the time of making this, we had 1,390 followers, which was an increase at the time of 139. Every post is now reaching much more people. As you can see, our impressions are way up. We have now more designated times in which we can see where people are viewing our posts more and where they're reaching a lot more people. And because of that, it's leading to a lot higher profile visits and even website clicks. As you can see, profile visits are directly relating to people actually visiting Diana's website. And through that, we're discovering optimal posting times to allow maximum engagement.
With Twitter, Diana's Face Painting didn't have a Twitter prior to that, and then we created it as we went along with the campaign. It was a fresh start. Twitter is a different social media platform. You have to tweet constantly, you have to reply, use popular hashtags, or just make your own hashtags related to your content. And we increased it by about 29 followers. And it led to
Some sample Twitter posts. We try to stay like more interactive with Twitter. So like we did polls. We asked people what their favorite animal was. So the one tweet actually got retweeted by someone who's verified. So that helped us with impressions. We were kind of doing different polls to see what people wanted, see what people wanted more of.
that person's like a motivational guy, I think. So he really likes some of our tweets. It's great.
As for results on the Twitter side of things, by using the existing Instagram, it's kind of like a springboard for the Twitter account. We got off the ground by announcing on Instagram that we had created this Twitter to allow us to kind of get a little bit of a jump start into things. And at the time, we were able to secure 27 followers by doing so. And at the time, we had 109 likes out of 54 total tweets. We were able to identify that our gender demographic is almost identical to that of Instagram, with a lot more females and male followers on Twitter as well. And we were able to make some more impressions by using things we learned in class, like hashtagging, and of course the whole giveaway thing. As you can see here, with the kind of hashtagging example, we were able to piggyback off of NFL Draft Day and tie it into sports, and seeing how spinning that into other people, getting their team's logo painted and things like that. And by doing so, we were able to raise the impressions on that tweet. And also, one that we got even more impressions on was, of course, the giveaway. Everyone loves giveaways. Everyone likes cool things. So by just hashtagging, giveaway and things like that, we were able to really expand who saw the content we were putting out.
Yeah.
Don't stop twitching.
Are you crying?
No, my eyes like.
I understand. You're happy that your product became like a woman. It's fine.
Not my product.
Do you want me to?
Oh, what are you quitting on your own?
Oh, sorry.
You're the better guy.
You want me to be?
No.
So who's going to?
We'll have commentary.
I just forget to click.
Can y'all see yourselves?
Yep.
Everybody say hi, Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
So
Here, so, did she watch it?
Hi, Sophia.
We ran the social media campaign for Sophia's Roots. My name is Cameron.
I'm Kristen.
I'm Jamie.
Alright, so in February we met with Sophia over FaceTime. We to learn about like her business and how to to discuss like how we can best build on the existing social media. Of course, then the following 6 weeks, and this is what we learned. So they're located in Fayetteville, New Jersey. They specialize in a wide variety of hair care and cosmetic services. Their main demographic is 25 to 45-year-old women. They already have an Instagram and Facebook presence, and they're looking to expand. They wanted their social media to have an approachable, relatable, cozy aesthetic. They love animals, charities, and education. They have merchandise such as mugs and T-shirts, and they're also sponsored by Kevin Murphy and Hair Products. So this is what we observed about the Sophia's Roots social media accounts prior to takeover. So before takeover, they had a social media presence on both Facebook and Instagram, and they have a very active and dedicated follower base with 1,249 Instagram followers. But they didn't have an existing official Twitter account, so we wanted to make one of those. Their Instagram was mainly focused on sharing hair photos and selfies, and we felt that it was in need of a little more variety. There wasn't any regular posting schedule. A lot of it, sometimes there would be like a couple days without posts and stuff like that. And we felt like maybe they need more posts promoting like its products, its services, and its merch.
Okay, so this is just a little bit about what we promised. We promised a Back to Basics campaign that got to the root of their business, an easy to maintain social media feed. We wanted it to be easy for once the project was over, it was something that they could keep up with. We promised to make graphics for the posts in an app called Canva. We wanted to begin and grow the Twitter. We wanted to increase, of course, the follower base, but also have more active followers. And we wanted to raise engagement to 15-20%. We promised that each Monday we would post a Meet the Team Monday, highlighting one of their team members, talking a little bit about them, giving a personal touch to posts. Then we said that Tuesday through Friday we would post at least once a day, which we did, and we post a mixture of just hair photos, promotions, memes, quotes, and more. And then short Saturday featuring a short haircut for the clients for some inspiration. And then Sunday Funday, we just wanted to talk about things that were going on in the salon for the upcoming week. Wanted to use Instagram stories a little bit more than they had in the past and get a little bit more engagement there. And then we promised to collect the analytics each week.
Okay, so this is the analytics overview. So since February 26, 2019, for Instagram, we had 62 posts, 117 new followers, 3,519 total likes, and 118 total comments. And then for Twitter, we had 40 tweets and retweets, 25 new followers, 50 total likes, and 7 total retweets.
So I just made this graph so that we were able to see the analytics of like sort of different groups of posts. So as you can see, from all of the posts that we did, the hair inspiration ones took 44.5% of all likes. So we found that those were really your followers really enjoyed those the most out of everything. And the second highest one is Meet the Team Monday. So we only did that 5 times throughout the course of the takeover because you can only post once a week. And that still took 20.5%. I think it had over 700 likes combined just for those 5 posts. So we found that the followers of Sophia's Roots really enjoyed the personal touch, and they liked seeing the different stylists and being able to comment on that as well. And then 19% for quotes and 16% for promotions and products. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to keep looking.
So for the first week, what didn't work that well, oh wait, no. We only had one website click versus the week prior. We had 6 posts, 156 profile visits in the last 7 days. We were up 63 followers and up 57 profile visits versus the first week. We had 1 email, 3 calls prior to the week before. 1,014 accounts reached from the 18th to the 24th. We were up 291 reaches versus the prior week and up almost 9,000 impressions versus the week prior. And for Twitter, we had 5 tweets, 8 followers, 406 impressions, and 9 engagements.
So for week 2, this is when we began Meet the Team Monday, which featured Sophia herself. So on Instagram, we made 8 posts. There were 222 profile visits in the last 7 days. We had plus 10 followers, plus 53 profile visits versus the previous week, plus 1 website click versus the previous week. Minus 2 calls from the previous week, but 1,096 accounts reached, plus 86 reach for the previous week, plus 4,457 impressions for the previous week. So the total amount of impressions at that point were 15,593. And on Twitter, we had 8 tweets, 8 followers, 2,235 impressions and Twitter.
Okay, so for week 3, we had 10 Instagram posts and 407 profile visits in the last 7 days. We had an addition of 11 followers, 185 profile visits versus the previous week, 1 website clicks versus previous week, 1 email, 1,316 accounts reached. There was 220 reached from the previous week, and then 1,242 impressions from the better than the previous week. So the total was 16,842. So on this week, everything was up, so we're all in green. And then for Twitter, we had 5 tweets, 23 followers, which was 15 more than we had the week before. 891 impressions, then 16 engagements.
That was the week that it's okay, you can still switch it, but that was the week we posted pink hair that was done. And then this following week was the week that the company that the product was used in the pink hair photo actually reshared our post, which was great, and that really shot our engagement up, and everything kind of went up as far as our analytics. So during this week, our impressions went up over almost 3,000, and we gained an additional 24 followers without doing anything. So I feel that that was really from them sharing the post. I think the post on their page got over almost 4,000 likes, which was impressive. And that week on Twitter, we were not that active, but we had 23 followers, and that was the week that we did the contest with the gift card. So that worked really well, and we found that the followers for Sophia really enjoyed having an incentive to go ahead and follow, so that would be something we recommend in the future.
Okay, so for week 5, we had 17 posts. We were down impressions and profile visits, but that's because of the week prior. We had gotten all the visits because of Amika reposting us. We were up 14 followers, down 2 website clicks, almost 14,500 reach total, and up 133 account reaches. For Twitter, we had 5 tweets, still 23 followers, 339 impressions, and 19 engagements.
So for the final results for the last 7 days, we ended up our impressions shot way back up after that week that we kind of took a hit. So we ended with over 19,000 impressions, which was great. We added 2 followers on Twitter. And then those are just some examples of the posts that we did this previous week. Okay, so now we're gonna talk a little bit about what worked. So hair inspiration photos really worked. As I mentioned before, 44.5% of all likes was from hair inspiration photos. Followers loved being able to see what they could do next for their haircuts, and that was really popular. The next one that really did well, again, was Meet the Team Monday. Like I said, we only posted that 5 times, and it did really well, and it gave a substantial amount of follows. The third one is Relatable Post. So this one particular post, I think, had over like 70 likes, and it was just like a silly quote that everybody could relate to. So the followers really enjoyed being able to relate to whether it was the stylist that they loved, or a quote that they thought was funny, or even products that they use often. So that was really great. And then tagging companies was also something obviously that we had success with Amika resharing this one photo, brought everything, all the numbers up, and it brought new followers to the page. And then lastly, we only posted about 3 times for anything related to bridal stuff, but if we could go back, I think that's one thing we would change, because just 3 posts alone brought almost over 1,800 reach, 13 comments, 43 profile visits, 242 likes. So that was really popular. And also Instagram stories worked really well. Whenever we posted a poll or anything on there, people really responded well to that as well.
Okay, so here's what didn't work. It was originally promised in the proposal that we would be posting at night, the peak time. Followers are online. However, this wasn't beneficial because it didn't make any sense to post things like Meet the Team Monday late at night. So we decided to post it earlier in the day so they could see it all day. Our team made a mistake of brightening some photos of the hair we posted, which in return changed the way the hair color looked in the photo. So we were unaware that this was a mistake, and we're happy to correct it once it was brought to our attention. We now understand how essential it is to publish content that is 100% accurate, especially hair color on a salon Instagram feed. Gaining interest for the in-person event live stream. While we had over 40 viewers for our live stream, we only had 1 customer come with their doll to get a free treat. We did, however, have a strong response to the contest we did for whoever won the $10 Starbucks gift card. We were not able to raise engagement to 15-20% as mentioned in the original proposal. Before the takeover, engagement was around 10%, and now it's currently at 12%.
So this is just a snapshot of our Hootsuite dashboard. We felt like it was easy to use as far as Twitter went. Instagram we thought was a little confusing, but it was nice to see everything displayed in one spot.
So some of the missed opportunities was this past yesterday or Monday, we did Meet the Team Monday, and then we also afterwards posted some of the artists or the stylist's her work. That did really well, so that was kind of a missed opportunity. If we had done that previously the past couple weeks, it would have done really well. The use of more hashtags on posts, posting more of what the salon has to offer, like bridal and airbrush makeup, eyebrow shaping, Brazilian waxes, all that. Yeah. And educational posts on Twitter and Instagram.
I also, I just wanted to add, the thing that, well, for me, I just felt like we missed the mark on anything with the local proms. Like we could have done something to like Central Regional's prom and Lacey's prom in the area. And then the other thing I think that we kind of missed the mark on was the bridal content. As I mentioned, that did really well. So if we had posted a little bit more with the bridal content, because right now is like peak wedding season, I think that would have brought a lot more engagement to the page.
Brazilian blowouts, not waxes.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, I just was gonna let you have it.
Oh my God.
I just wanted you to have it.
Thanks.
Okay.
Sophia's like, no, we don't do that.
Whatever. Okay, we're good. Thank you.
So advice for the future, continue highlighting stylists on Instagram. Followers gravitated to those posts over others. Continue to tag brands like Amika or Kevin Murphy for possible exposure from the brand's Instagram. Keep up with Short Saturday. Followers gravitated to inspirational photos. Bridal photos, hair and or makeup get high likes. Stories where followers can engage. Polls, questions, those tend to do better. And keep up with the Instagram story highlights. We added categories to the page for you to conveniently add your stories to your profile.
So lastly, we just wanted to do a quick thank you. We know that it's probably a big undertaking to allow people to take over your page, and we just wanted to thank the team at Sophia's Roots and Sophia for allowing us to do that and learn a little bit more about social media while we help them out. and we hope that they enjoyed the process as much as we did.
Thank you, guys.
You love you. You don't need to be here anymore. Get out of here. Give them the.
And you guys had cookie?
Yeah, we have to do it.
Oh, no. No bueno.
Luciel, you're up.
Why you gotta do that?
Sorry.
Don't do. Alright, whatever. That's messed up, man. But you know what? I admire.
It's a tough act to follow, I'm not going to lie.
No, it's fine. I mean, I've harbored and lost all hope. It's okay. It's like, ugh. No offense.
I'm so excited. So
You know, I'll do my best to make it as optimistic as possible. I feel like so much.
I just look how much second you look at me. I was just letting you have it.
Well, that's all I can
We don't do waxes.
Sophia watched the whole thing and she said you guys are awesome.
Oh, yay! See my waxes? See?
I mean,
Maybe they should expand their they're gonna start doing that's like,
You guys rock.
yeah.
Sophia said,
Oh, it's just like, wow, yay.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, should I put Is your brain stuff? The pressure?
No, it's running. I was just waiting for the.
Just do it really.
can you tell?
There's like 5 people watching right now. There's 5 people watching right now.
Oh, that's all.
I'm one of them, everybody.
Yes, we have to be sensitive. Can you send her?
It's so
Take it.
Alright,
I can't even see.
wait, hold on. I need a volunteer.
Oh, I'll do it.
I wanna see y'all.
You can't escape the camera.
Yeah, your hair wants to like half the screen.
Alright.
It's not alright.
Alright.
It's really hard.
Oh, geez.
Sorry.
It's really hard. After that performance, why'd you have to do that, man?
Alright.
Alright. I'm just gonna, for this presentation, I'm gonna be like super blunt, super straightforward. Is it gonna be a happy ending? I don't know. What?
So negative, right?
What?
Be positive.
Hey,
And his client's sitting right in front of him.
I know, but she knows my work and craft, so it's okay. She's great. I love her. So I'm Lorenzo, Caitlin,
Again.
Alex, everyone. And so our client was Luann, preferably known as Shell Confections. I don't know, click the slide. I don't even know what's next. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna get to that in just, So prior recap, you can just see the bullet points over here. So before we get started, the social media takeover, Luann, she was pretty much standing at about 175 followers with her K-pop Instagram, showing off her local business and the pictures of her craft to cater to the public. Now, such posts included catered projects of her K-pops from various local clients, ranging from events such as birthdays, weddings, seasonal events, etc. And this is pretty much just like a general idea of what you could see from her past posts before we started out.
Okay.
Okay. So.
Okay, so what we originally promised, obviously a change. Sir. So when we started the takeover, we promised Luann a change in direction for her social media. This included an increased number of followers, likes on posts, a change in branding, and a different lead towards graphical image.
We even promised to forward into Twitter by making her an account and creating a reputation on the platform and keep it up to date on the latest K-pop trends. Though it seems like a high horse, the number of hours to be predicted were about realistically 100 follower increase.
Yeah, so essentially, when we did do the takeover, we were hoping to kind of like push more of a huge transition. Naturally, when you're doing this big of like a push for something from the ground up, it's very, like I said, or at least the opposite of what I'm saying, is that it feels unrealistic. Because it takes time, it's hard to build up such like a ground-based community so fast and in such a small amount of time. Though things are possible when blowing things up, it just depends on what you tackle, etc. This is just some screen caps of just the analytics of the Instagram from the past 7 days. As you can see here, that our interaction numbers are, it's pretty moderate. I mean, I'd like to say it's pretty moderate, profile view wise. We do try to post every other day. You can see from our reach and impressions. Naturally, there does seem to be a dip. Most of the times we try to post as much as possible through the weekday, rather than the weekend whenever we get enough time, but it is what it is. Next slide. Just some more analytics.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. It's fine. So right now we're capping at like 2 or 3 followers, 204. You can see that there's a clear -1. We were at a point at a max of 207 from our 175 followers from the very beginning, which in my perspective seems not that bad. When you're coming from, posting new content and seeing what works and what doesn't work, you can just look at that slide. Over here, you can kind of see a general number. These are the last couple posts that we made in the past 7 days, in terms of just recent views on them and likes, and you can kind of just get an idea that it's been ranging from at least our least was 18, ranging from 30, 31-ish.
I think our most was actually 40.
Probably,
Yeah.
it's possible. And it's super dramatic. So we had a flow of 3 variations of posts. And we had personals, DIYs, and genre-specific posts. I don't know if it's on the next slide. All right, cool. We'll get to that in a second. But we had these posts that had the most effect were in fact the genre-specific posts. So for example, the Scrabble cake pop, the Spider-Man cookies, those specific kinds of posts really catered more in terms of likes and kind of interaction. Mostly just because it's genre specific. Everyone likes Spider-Man, and it was National Scrabble Day, so a lot of people were about that at the time. And because of the certain hashtags that we used for Scrabble Day, such as board games and tabletops, people like that. And in addition to not only being a cake pop, but people like Scrabble, so they like the post. The least effective is hard to jot out since, yet again, like I made a point before, that most of the posts were pretty much in the same range of likes. They were at a moderate consistency. A mistake on my behalf, though, with the post was the Easter one. I mentioned this a couple of weeks, or a week ago in class, but I over hashtagged the post, leaving it with a blank description, which I didn't even know about. It's a common mistake, but it resulted to only 12 likes without a description. So, putting back the description, luckily enough for Instagram, you're able to edit back in the description, but at that point it was still too late, and we didn't get more likes than we acknowledged. So at the most we got 18 on that from the 12 originally. So that's kind of the default. Final results, at the time Land was outstanding at 175 followers. We were at a high of 207. In the past 7 days, we have lost followers giving us a -1, putting us back to a 203 follower count, 204, I just checked recently. Next thing, just missed opportunities. With how the social media is currently, if it were to keep a consistent flow of content, then there will in fact be more results. During the period of time we had control, there were a lot of missed opportunities of posting pop culture related product in addition to just the lack of posting and tweeting on Twitter to begin with. Yet again, when we promised all these different changes, just the lack of engine flow through these social media accounts and stuff is primarily the lack of it. But with enough grease into it, you can definitely see results if you put enough effort. These posts did take time. It's not like posts like these where they were events related were primarily from Luann herself, kind of like backstage posts. And these were essentially photo shoots that we did, same thing with bunnies and that. Photo shoots that we did and me going through Illustrator and stuff and just touching it up, etc. Kind of like giving it more of like a DIY brand to it, which kind of gives it that really like marketed feel rather than just the homey feel. So trying to keep a balance of a little bit both. I could definitely see being kind of like a future relevance in good results. So, and then next dot. And advice. I would say to just don't be afraid to go beyond. Looking at you. Don't be afraid to go beyond and experiment. Try something new and outside the box. Follow trends. Make things pop culture related. At the end of the day, you like cake pops. You don't have to like what the cake pop is about. Keep things frequent and pile up on content. I would definitely say that was yet again another missed opportunity. I feel like if we piled up more in the very beginning rather than kind of like late-ish, then we probably would have got more results because we would have been pumping out more content than we would want to, especially using like Hootsuite's mechanic of piling up stuff and scheduling posts when we need to. But yeah. So essentially, if we look at our stats, which I don't have here, but I'm just gonna say it. So in terms of likes and follows, our difference has ranged to 28 total. So we made a 28 increase, 5 increase on Twitter, impressions and reach, 750 impressions, 225 reaches. Post engagements, we average about 18 to 32 likes, 1 to 2 average comments on each post. Didn't really share much on Instagram because you can't. Mentions and tags. We didn't really mention too many people on Instagram, but we did manage to pump out at least 30 hashtags of posts. And we primarily used the same hashtags for most of them. The only time we ever changed it was with it was very specific. Dependent on what the post was about and what day. We always try to go for like national days. So for instance, this was like National Cherry Cheesecake Day, National Jelly Bean Day, Easter, National Scrabble Day, National Peach Cobbler Day, and we kind of just like focused on that. But yeah, and then I don't know what the next slide is. Oh, this is just an example of what I did too. So like just to help with her rebranding. I mean, she enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing it at least. This was just like a banner logo that I made for her too, and it's like a little can make a long way because when you change your image and your brand, you can definitely like think of different ideas and kind of go above and beyond with what you want to do in the future. So even though it might seem like we faltered and it was like, we didn't do as much as we expected and intended and promised, there's still like a nice light eye in the future for what could happen. And this is kind of just like a small kickstart, because it's like, it's not easy, especially the time and, arranging things. But, with the help of such programs such as Hootsuite, that could be accomplished. Anyways, that was our project. I love everyone. Sorry. That's I got.
Well, thank you. Lynn, do you have any questions for that.
I actually have two. There's no way to find out who unfollowed me, correct?
Because I will send them a message myself back.
What
No,
I think
I-
it was is like, you know, like when you start following people,
Yeah.
or they'll follow you just to get a follow, and then they'll unfollow you.
Oh, yeah. 'Cause I'm
That
not big
happens a lot.
on- Because I'm not big on following.
No, I know, but
I think.
I think a lot of like, not companies, but like little businesses do that sometimes.
And
Oh
are
my
there any
God.
other hashtags?
what's up?
Are there any other hashtags you would recommend besides the 30 you already put up there? Or was it too many hashtags? How does it like, is there a thing as too many hashtags?
For Instagram, I don't think there's a thing for too. At least for Instagram, I don't think there's a thing for too many.
Yeah.
It depends on what your exposure is. I
Yeah.
feel like dependent on your exposure, that's when
If
you
there's a
like
max of
limit
30,
your
yeah.
hashtags. Because once you build a community, everyone's
Yeah.
already kind of like
Yeah.
seeing what you're posting.
Yeah.
So the likes, like if you've got a consumingly amount of likes on one post, that's going to convey the weight of like your hashtags
Yeah.
because it's exposure, right? So I would say for now, yeah, you could use a lot of hashtags. Don't overwhelm yourself, but I think for like Twitter, you don't have to go crazy with hashtags for Twitter, in my personal opinion, because Twitter's supposed to be kind of like fast, straight to the point, maybe one or two hashtags, depending on what like it is. So, yeah.
You should use like 12 to 15 per
12 to
post. Yeah, that's usually what it is, because 30 is too many.
Yeah.
No one is.
Because when I looked at it, I was like trying to read it. I'm like, what is going on here? Because I thought it was a lot.
What you could do is you could put like little tickers down and put your hashtag where people can't really see them,
Yeah.
where it's more for like people to discover.
I think you did that on a lot of them. It was like scroll down and then you put all of them. But I was like, that's a lot of hashtags for my brain to keep on top of.
So that's actually why we made. So when we were doing these, we actually made like a quick cheat sheet as to like what
Right.
we did.
Yeah.
So it made it a lot easier for us to do. Those
To
things.
basically go back and refer
Yeah.
to it, so we're not like trying to think of it. on the
Yeah,
spot.
again, we were utilizing
Like 3
it
hours.
more. That wouldn't be the case, but yeah, it is what it is. In terms of analytics, sorry, but we're not like the last presentation. Oh, that's right, I said it there. Anyways, but it is what it is. So yeah, that's it. That's
Thank you guys.
we tried. We in there.
All right. BMC, you're up.
We in there.
All right. Gwen, I know you gotta go. You want me to leave? No, you can say it. You can say it.
I feel like you can go home.
Get out of here.
Thank you, Leah. Let's get
Oh, all right.
This is her time.
Yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. Oh, that's fine.
Hiding from the camera.
Do I have the PowerPoint pusher?
Oh, I'll do it. Oh,
Thank you.
oh, oh, I'm sorry.
Just got myself.
Everybody want a cookie while we wait?
I call it, it's like a half of a Cadbury cream nugget. It's like, I'm really hungry.
You know, could have made cake pops if you told me in advance.
It's okay.
Throwing that out there.
Just sure he brought stuff and then I would eat the cake pops and then I put
No, you
the bag
wouldn't.
in
You
the
wouldn't eat cake pops. It's a full face line right here.
Oh,
Alex ate the cake pops.
Oh, really?
One last.
Oh, look.
Oh.
I ate all the cake pops.
I'm like, I'm so. I was hoping for
You like
a
water?
while.
No, yeah.
So, it's gonna have so many airheads.
All right. Wait, I gotta see you guys come a little closer. After. There you go. No one farther than that.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hi, guys.
All right, how are you?
So we did BMC Motors. I'm Justin. I'm Brian.
I'm Joe.
I'm Maura. It's been a day.
Okay, so a little bit about our clients. So they're kind of an autobike shop in Island Heights, and they've been taking care of cars and people who drive them since 2009. family owned and operated, and like I said, based out of Island Heights. Social media prior to us taking over, the Facebook had 2 page likes, 2 reviews, 0 recommendations. Instagram had 156 followers, a 9% engagement rate, and Twitter had 7 followers, and the last tweet was from September in 2018.
The initial goals that we had in our plan was for Facebook, grow from 2 to 500 page links, have 10 reviews posted, get 20 customer check-ins, post 10 times per week. On Instagram, we had a goal of growing from 156 to 300 followers, have 18% engagement rate, post once per day. And on Twitter, we wanted to grow from 7 to 100 followers, have original tweets at least once per day, and engage with brands and individuals daily.
So I'm gonna take the hit on this one, guys. Those goals were, we found a little bit unattainable as we went along. But we are very proud of what we actually did. We grew our Facebook from 2 to 33 page likes. We ended up getting another review recommendation, so we now have a total of 3. The reason we focused a lot on Facebook was that even though it wasn't a part of the, project itself, is that we thought it was really important for a business to have a good Facebook page, especially given that they had 2 likes. We thought, it's worth a little bit of time and effort to put into it to help them grow a little bit more. Some of our missed opportunities with Facebook, we had some issues with the automatic cross-posting from Instagram, which where we got a lot of our content. So there was a handful of posts that were never shared to Facebook that we never double-checked. So first future advice, always double-check your posts. We also found that there wasn't enough unique content. We found that the unique posts that we put up on Facebook did incredibly well versus the stuff that was auto-shared. So in the future, if we were to include this, as part of the project, as a main part of the project, we would have done a lot more unique posts for Facebook. In the future, we had long-form posts. Our unique content was usually lists, advice, checklists. It's springtime. Make sure you check these 5 things on your car, stuff you wouldn't think to check. Are your headlights still bright? Because I know mine aren't. So it's one of those things where they, long-form, more blog-like posts perform very well on Facebook. And additionally, we encourage paid ads targeting the Island Heights, Toms River area to encourage that outreach, given that we only have 33 page likes. There's not a lot of people seeing and viewing and sharing, and a paid ad is going to help grow the seasons. So some examples here of our some examples we have are 2 of our high-performing Facebook posts. The first one on the left there, the Did You Know post about the first speeding ticket. They were going a whole 45 miles an hour. That ended up having 80 engagements on it, which is pretty good considering we had 33 page likes. And this one here had 672 people reached, and that is entirely organic. And this one was 6 tips to prep your car for spring. Things that you can see there is like inspect and align your tires, wash out your car, and other things like that. Up next, we have our Instagram. Again, very high goals, didn't quite get there. As of right before this class, we are still at 199 followers. So if somebody wants to get us to 200, that'd be great. And we grew our engagement rate from 9% to 18.28. So we did end up achieving that one, and I'm pretty proud of that. The engagement rate includes likes, comments, as well as people who send it to other people on Instagram, and that's what affects the engagement there. So we were really proud that we were able to more than double that. The missed opportunities, we had some inconsistent hashtags. For the most part, we had a very good hashtag mix, and it came out very well. But every now and then, there were a couple of missed hashtags. They didn't quite take. We had the same issue where occasionally we posted just one too many, and we didn't double check on it. Another issue is that we had this opportunity with the car envy style posts. We had posts putting up cool cars, old cars, sports cars, things people like to look at. We found that those did really well. Unfortunately, we realized that those did really well a little bit too late. So in the future, like we said there, higher engagement on cool cars, so including that more. We also had a missed opportunity when it came to coordinating schedules. Between the 4 of us, it was hard enough to make sure we were all trying to be in the same place at the same times, as well as being able to get on site to take photos at the shop. So in the future, we also said making sure we're there, getting pictures, and engaging with the things in the shop. Again, using the hashtags, we also would suggest a before and after photo of work they've done, cars they've cleaned, even simple stuff where it just looks a little bit shinier on the end. Always does well on Instagram with automotive posts, as well as testing page ads on Instagram. And here we see the photo on your left side, that was too hard. From December 2018, before we took over, there was 52 accounts reached, 7% of which were not following the account. And then here we see a post from the 25th. This had 713 accounts reached, 92 of which were not following us. And here we have circled the number of the people who found this post from a hashtag was 756. So definitely a big difference, and hashtags made a huge help on that one.
So on Twitter, we increased our Twitter following up to 30 from 7, so that was kind of good. Our impressions, we increased over 1,000%. Profile, our visits increased for 400%. The thing is with Twitter, you have to be consistent and you have to do it like every day, a couple times a day. That's where we lacked. But I feel from 7 to 30 was pretty good. So we increased our impressions. So, proud of it.
So we did also have some in the future things for general goals. We had to include using our resources wisely. We did not take full advantage of the benefits that Hootsuite had to offer, and I think we can all agree that we should have used that one a little bit more than we did. So we would definitely recommend using Hootsuite a lot more. Using photos from on-site, it creates a genuine content, so it feels a little more honest, a little more open, kind of behind the scenes for people who are seeing photos from the shop, everybody there doing the work. And it also allows you to build a bank of content. Everybody knows there's been a day where you're like, oh no, I forgot to do something, then you can just slap an extra photo up there and call it a day. It may not be perfect, but it's better than no post. And last of all, the SMART goals, the specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Keep the achievability in check, which I think we're a very good example of going a little bit over the top of the achievability.
Is it?
And then we have one last group.
Ah.
Yay.
That was it.
No test. One more.
Oh, wait, where's Lauren?
Diana. Oh, there's she's fine.
Oh, there's.
No, no. You just have it in your URL.
So tired. Hey, Cody. Adelaire, what's up?
Oh, now.
What? My followers are on the chat. I'm talking. They don't get to see me. It's not every day they can see me. All right, get water, guys. Streamlabs. Hey,
Yeah, I just made that. Hey, no problem. I just remembered. I was like, oh wait, yeah, totally about that. Thank you. Yeah, like anybody who's like, somebody whatever, like. Yeah, specifically to that. My friend. Let's get I'm so into that. I'm very.
Why are you on this? It's interesting. So they'll probably there you go. Oh,
Okay. Perfect. Looks great.
CMJ stands for Communications, Media, and Journalism.
Diana.
Sure. Okay, so what we saw for Maine is that they're like target is college students or people looking to go to college, looking for new opportunities. There was a lot of areas to work with Maine, the newspaper, the radio station, TV station. There's a lot of events also held by the CMJ department. we didn't really have any like set goals. We just kind of wanted to get it more activity and more sort of looking for more consistency, more follows and stuff like that. So this was our plan. Every week we tried to post a contest to get people to interact and show off their work, hoping that the highlighting of them would help them. And then we tried to post every day to every other day on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Tried to post more about what was going on, events, some more behind the scenes, and some quotes from professors and students. We also added in there current event posts and professor of the week. And the current event posts seem to do very well, and so did the professor of the week. So this is a picture of our Hootsuite page. Thanks.
This was Twitter. I my personal opinion, I think we kind of dropped the ball on Twitter because it's a little hard to kind of gauge with college content. I mean, we kind of made up for some stuff like I would do, journalism tweets or something about, something that's going on at school, or we would put the post from Instagram, toggle it over to Twitter. I know the pictures don't come up, but at least we got some engagement from that. Got a lot of impressions, certain days, like the controversial posts. Those had a lot of hits on that too. The professor of the week, or anything that was really put on Twitter was just some days we hit it, some days we didn't. Kind of missed the mark on that. It was just more like if we would post it on Instagram, I would just have it, go directly to Twitter. And those are kind of our impressions. We were in the 100 to maybe 250 range about there. Twitter, we started out with 272 following. We have 276 followers. I think we started out. You said 275, so we gained 1 follower. But the hashtags that we would use would be KCMJ, student life, college life, K University, KU students, K Cougars, study motivation. And I would also geotag the K Ocean or K Union.
So the Instagram analytics really told us our age range, which was 18 to 24, and was mostly the college student age. Like Lauren said, we did have a lot of engagement in our controversial posts, like the real time, like the Jesse Millett post that we posted as he was pretty much being, I guess, getting off the charges, and a lot of people engaged with that. So more real time posts definitely would benefit the page. It was hard to engage with students because we started to follow a lot of the students and a lot of K University faculty, but we didn't get as much engagement as we thought because I guess our KCMJ contact did warn us that a lot of students don't want to be followed because they don't want us to see what they're doing. So in short, the hashtags were the ones that we used the most, and that really helped us as well. Our gender were 66% women and 34% men, and the age range, and the Union Township, obviously, which is in Union, which is hard to really get engagement from Union because we are in Kane Ocean, so it was hard for us to go to videos of the events there. So we did get more feedback on the Kane Ocean, but we weren't getting as many likes and as much engagement because there's such less students in Kane Ocean than there are in Kane Union. So ideally, we want somebody that's in both areas, and I was only there on Friday, so there was not many things to do on Fridays there. And yes, the accounts reached, from April 29th to the 5th, we reached 509 accounts on the discovery here as well. For some of the other content, we had 202. And we did have over 2,900 impressions from the 12th to the 18th. So we did do pretty good with the impressions and even non-followers that weren't following us because of the hashtags.
These are the contests that we did. So we did a video clip contest.
We also did our game day for our live stream. Picture of our winner for our video contest. Favorite spot at the university. We tried to do a writing, creative writing essay. We noticed that the contest actually didn't do as well as we were hoping for. Not a lot of people responded, so kind of a little difficult. But I feel like if we had more people willing to participate, we probably would have done a lot better.
The photo contest did pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
We got a few submissions for that.
Yeah, people like.
There's more contest. Elizabeth won our writing contest, and she's in the room with us today.
Where?
I actually have a certificate.
Wait, what? I get a certificate.
You get a certificate.
Oh, cool.
You
Show
won?
the people.
Yes, she won. You lost. Yours wasn't that good.
Yeah, I know.
For the digital media art contest, we didn't get any inquiries, which is unfortunate because we did think that being that it's a media, King CMJ, communication media and journalism, that would be the one that would get the most. But again, I think what we learned is that for King CMG, we need to post maybe daily and with stuff, maybe repost also students that are posting stuff on their page that we follow and repost their stuff. That way more students can get engaged and feel like we're going to repost them as well. So that may be a way for us to get more followers and more engagement, to repost like the videos of students that have been doing videos, etc., that have been posted recently. These are
ones that did pretty well.
Yeah, these are the ones that did really well, which are the controversial events that were happening. ABC News was a great outlet for me to repost, and we did use the app repost. Also, this is from the the rapper that was killed. Also Notre Dame, obviously, Notre Dame. Yeah, we got a lot of views for that. Obviously, that was happening in real time. So it's the faster you post something in real time, the more followers and engagement you get, and use the hashtags. Also, don't use tragic events hashtags to get more followers. That is not a good idea, which we accidentally did. I did that by accident. But the Justice Blood also it was more real time, so that got a little more views. This one was a couple hours afterwards, or maybe a day later, so they didn't get as many views as possible, but the Notre Dame one did get it.
And then our faculty shout outs. I think these ones did pretty good in comparison to some other ones that we had.
Thanks.
People did gave a lot of love.
You're on the next page.
Oh, good. Yeah.
You didn't make them. You got the most likes, and
She actually did get a lot of love.
we got a lot of comments, and a lot of likes. And our professor Shannon, and also this gentleman right here got a lot of likes and
Oh,
comments.
yeah, he got a lot of love.
Yes, he definitely got a lot of love.
Shout out to Rich.
Richard, he's a communication major in his video. She was really, really good. Richard Zeller. Some of the trips we went on one to Maury, and this is a gentleman that is actually a Kane student that works there now as a production assistant, and he had a video that he made for us, and we posted it, and that was one of the events at King University that Diana's face painting was at, face painting students, and it was about
I think this was actually your first post too.
that was one, yeah, that was the first post where it was like a welcoming event for all the new freshmen, yes, incoming freshmen, and this is just us with Maury Povich right there. You are not the father, Maury Povich.
Dr. Oz.
Yeah, we got good lessons. It was in real time, as it was happening, it was posted. So again, the best recommendation is to post as it's happening, not the day after, or even hours later, because
I like that.
it's ours.
Oh, God.
More certain.
So we posted other events. Sophia's Roots posted what their live feed, and we promoted. It had to do with King University and King students, so we want to make sure that we're promoting everything possible to engage the students. And so we had Malcolm Wright actually commented and liked a lot of our posts, so we were able to repost that. And this is Mr. Sullivan, who is the head of the PRSSA, and so he definitely helped us out a lot with content, and he was one of the professors that was featured. And the NJCA conference, which is promoting events that were happening in the school. More events that we're just posting at the school as we went, trying to get more engagement and likes. Hashtags, we use at least 10 or more. Sometimes we miss that mark, which is why we have more likes in some than others. Like, oh no, we did tag and repost.
More behind the scenes.
That's it. Yeah, those were stories that we posted as well. No, it's okay. Things are like the story. Like
introducing different events and stuff we have on there too, so people know about them before they came up.
Reposted other events from other sections of the university that were happening. Like I also put it in this. We also put it in the story like real time. This is happening tomorrow. Some people would message us that they want us to repost things, so we were helping out with that. Well, just kept posting stuff. Right? Insights on every single post that we had. We pretty much just posted everything up there. And this is the original.
That's when we started out with 177, and so we had it as of today, 264.
We have 87 followers since the beginning.
All right.
Good job.
All right. Well,
Jump in.
well, give yourself a round of applause. Everybody say bye, live stream.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you want me to say?
What? No?
No, I could. Later.